It's a great honor and privilege for me to address such a distinguished audience. I do remember last time I've been there last year together with the members of my cabinet, and we delivered a very strong speech what kind of reforms the government have undertaken, what kind of path we've defined for my country. And let me start with the words of great appreciation for the Chancellor Merkel, for the federal government, and for the German people. I truly commend her personal contribution, and I truly commend the fact that the German people stand by the Ukrainian people. Look, Germany is a flagship of European policy towards Ukraine. And we did a lot together, we achieved a lot together, and Germany played a crucial role in making this success story possible. You just mentioned a number of historic issues that relate to my country. And let me just remind you, in 2013, the Ukrainian people rejected the former president and the former government in their attempt to abandon EU integration idea. The former president fled the country, and the reason was very clear, because the former government decided to reject an idea to sign DCFTA with the European Union. Ukrainians took European flags in their hands, they went on the streets, and they started fighting. Fighting for justice, fighting for Europe, fighting for the European values, fighting for freedom, and fighting for our independence. And these European flags have blood spots. After a former president ordered practically a massacre against Ukrainians who have been fighting for our freedom. In the end, they left the country, and I was sworn in as a Prime Minister of New Ukraine. And you know, just going back to the history, I do remember my first day in the office. Just a few numbers for you. On the treasury account of one of the biggest European states, you know how many euros we had? 15,000 euros. The overall debt of my country was $73 billion. We were entirely out of gas in our underground tanks. No deal, no gas, no cash, no government, no police, no army. But what we got from the neighboring country, at this particular period of time, at the same time, President Putin orders his troops to invade Crimea and illegally annex Ukrainian territory. For the first time after the Second World War, Russia decided to grab, not annex. I am no longer the Prime Minister, so I can skip all this diplomatic rhetorics. Just grabbed a part of independent country. Then he sent his proxies and his troops to Donetsk and Lugansk. We lost 20% of Ukrainian economy. We lost the territory. We lost a number of companies. But most dramatic thing that we lost, and we are constantly losing right now, lives of Ukrainian people. Lives of innocent people. And the reason is quite clear. Russian president still believes that in this way he can resurrect the empire. This is the wrong path, and this is the wrong way. And the time will come, and those who invaded Ukraine will pay the price. Very high price. So we faced a tremendous challenges. And the thing is that, you know, after the revolution, when you have an amplified Sometimes it's even exaggerated expectations of the Ukrainian people. It's so complicated to meet all these expectations. That's not the news that people always hate politicians. Okay? Well, and that's normal. But you have always to deliver. And in these current circumstances, I had to undertake extremely unpopular decisions. For example, could you imagine if, for example, the Chancellor goes to the German people and say, look, my fellow Germans, the government decided to increase household tariffs by 2 times. The government decided to impose new taxes. The government decided to tax your pensions. The government decided to shut down a number of social entitlement programs. The government decided to pass 3 austerity packages. But there was no other way. And in the end, we slashed the budget deficit from 10.5% to 2.5%. We decreased the debt by $7 billion. For today, it's 66 billion US dollars. We increased and improved energy independence of my country. Because usually Ukrainians celebrated the New Year near the Russian Gazprom. So that was the tradition. But not this time. So we eliminated all these different kind of oligarchic and murky interlocutors that existed between the Russian Gazprom and Ukrainian biggest state-owned enterprise, which is Naftogaz. And we facilitated direct deals with the European-based companies to supply Ukraine with the natural gas. So we became much more energy independent. The government passed a number of very strong reformist bills, and for today, a number of them already implemented. So the thing is that we always have to move, and people will never ask what you did in the past. People will always ask what you're going to do in the future. We overcome, I would say overcome, 3 different elections. Presidential one, parliamentary, and municipal. And knowing previous Ukraine, or so-called former Ukraine, it was so difficult to maintain political and to preserve the political stability among different Ukrainian political forces. So my guess is that this is for the first time in modern Ukrainian history, when after the Russian invasion, my country survived for practically 3 years. And not only survived, but for the first time in these 2.5 years, we showed a very modest signs of economic growth. So there is a strong determination on the side of Ukrainian people to become a part of big one united European family. And I expect that there is the same strong determination on part of all EU member states to preserve the Union and to defend the Union. Because what Ukraine needs definitely very strong European institution, united, robust and sound European Union.